Okay, so I just realized I was muted before, but I'm not muted now, so that's cool. I will type, I know I was muted. So, here we are again. We are here with the Rapture Gaming League, and we're gonna see a one game between these two teams. It's MiTH Trust taking on Mineski, and we're still in the group stages. So far, MiTH Trust, well, they're doing actually really well. They've only lost one game thus far, 1-6, so that's 7 games played in total. Today will be their 8th, and we're gonna see if they can stay on top or if they will come on par with both Titan and First Departure, because those two already have played 8 games, and those have got 6 wins, 2 losses. So let's see if we can have MiTH rise to the top, or if if they're gonna have a shared first place. For Mineski, they have not been really doing all too well, and they really need to do a lot better than they are right now if they still want to make it to the playoffs, because they've played 7 games so far, won 2, lost 5. And even though, you know, they're not lowest just yet, they are second lowest, and only the top 6 will go on to the playoffs. And right now, well, they're actually, they're 6th. Wow, look at that. There's only 7 teams left here in the group stage. That's just, of course, some teams had to drop out. You might know that that we had of course the Chinese teams had to drop out, and then Zenith disbanded, so they dropped out as well. So that's why we're left with 7 teams. Well, so far it's not even that big of an issue. And as I said, I know I was muted, but I'm no longer muted, so that's cool. But we're gonna see if they can at least keep themselves being on 6th place, or maybe even have a shared 5th place, because Awake is sitting right there as well. Impervious also only 2 wins, but then 6 losses, so they are actually on the bottom right now. If Mineski lose this one, they have a shared last place, and that's not where you want to be. So both teams really want to have that win. We have got an IO banned out, no Bandrider banned out though, and that's why Mineski is able to pick it up first. We've got ourselves a Razor banned, which is interesting since Mineski banned out the Razor. Perhaps they were planning on picking up the OD, but MiTH Trust, they make sure they take it instead. They also have a Naga Siren, so a lot of control on their end. And we have got ourselves a Timbersaw ban, so all in all, the ban's not all that surprising. I mean, maybe the Timbersaw ban out this early is slightly newish, but we have seen him a lot lately, especially in the Asian scene, and it's a worthy ban for sure. Rubik will be the next pickup for Mineski, so both teams now having the same kind of idea here. We have got the Naga Siren support and Rubik's support, and the OD mid up against the Bandrider mid, or at least that's what we can expect. Bandrider, of course, can be running into an into the jungle. It can be on the offlane as well, and then put a Kunkka or something up against the OD, or a Lone Druid or Lifestealer. We've seen it all before. Viper even works out. So that could be something that's strong there, but we'll see if he actually will be up against the OD, or if Bandrider will be put somewhere else. OD himself, though, doesn't really need to be mid. OD could technically also still be in the in a safe lane. We've seen that before. Just safe lane farming, especially if Mineski pick up a hero that is planning to go mid and OD doesn't want to face it. You can just see them dodging that lane. We've got a Nyx Assassin ban out by MiTH Trust, no surprise. It's a support that Mineski still needs, and especially a support that works really well up against the OD. Of course, the mana burn being immensely strong because it's based up on intellect, and OD normally wants to have a lot of intellect just to deal way more damage with both his ult as well as with his orb effect. Some bans for Mineski, the Alchemist and the Darkseer. Darkseer mostly so that he cannot combine up with that Naga Siren, of course. That's just too much team fight coming off from MiTH, and even though they already have a lot, of course. They've got the Song, they've got the Sanity's Eclipse, and it's just already looking pretty potent. Alchemist removed as well. Alchemist with the Naga Siren has got some nice synergy also. I mean, a snare is there to make Alchemist sure that he can walk up towards the target, take longer to charge up his stun, and also the Acid Spray after the Song of the Siren, just to make sure that a fight happens. If a fight happens after the Song of the Siren, then well, then there would be fighting in Acid Spray. That's not really nice. Weaver, last ban out for MiTH. We still have a Lifestealer in the pool, by the way. Also one of those heroes that is pretty strong on the lane, doesn't really die easily, and has a good potential to carry in the mid game, and works out okay up against the OD, because the one thing that you can do up against the OD to counter him is just start building BKBs, and of course Lifestealer has got one built into him. Sorry. Happens. But yeah, that's why Lifestealer might be a nice pickup, but that's also why MiTH Trust might think about picking that one up, even though I would like to see a Gyrocopter more up on the side of MiTH. I mean, I was just talking about combinations with the Naga Siren and actually Elder Titan. I would not be surprised to see him there either. Elder Titan works out well together with the Naga as well. I mean, there's just so much that you combine up with that song, and so far there's only a Sanity's Eclipse, and an Elder Titan could be on the off lane and could have the Earth Splitter, of course, with the Song of the Siren. Gyrocopter could be on the safe lane, carrying with the cooldown after the Song of the Siren. I mean, there's so much potential in terms of teamfight for MiTH here. They go with the Vengeful Spirit first though, so sticking with the supports. Assuming that Vengeful is going to be played as support, of course we've seen it a bit different sometimes, but I'm going to expect here a support. Of course it's a highly mobile support in terms of she normally wants to be a very fairly aggressive support. Naga Siren works out well with that. We could potentially even see an aggressive trialing with these with this lineup. I mean, they've got a double disable, they've got double minus armor, which is something that you have to keep in mind. Riptide as well as a Wave of Terror, that's very scary. Let's see what Mineski goes for here. And they still need one of the supports. We still have all the jungle heroes in the pool, so if they want to be picking something up like a Sven, or Chen rather, Chen or Enchantress, Enigma even, then they can still do that. Really depends on what they want to do with that Batrider, because if the Batrider is going to be in the jungle, then the jungle is going to be a bit crowded perhaps if you also want to have a Chen there, but we'll find out. Lifestealer at least will be the next one there for Mineski. I mean, we talked about him for a little while, and it's just a very strong hero to have. And he pairs up well with the Batrider because you can infest inside that Batrider, and Batrider can just blink lasso and you can infest out, and that target that you have will die. MiTH Trust thinking about their next pickup. They are the team so far that has used most of their bonus time and are going to use it again right now. I still wouldn't mind the Elder Titan and the Gyrocopter. I would love to see that one. Just so much potential in terms of team fight. But perhaps now that they have the Vengeful Spirit, they want to go for a bit more aura stacking. Let's take a look though. Nature's Prophet it is. So not a hero that combines up all too well with the Naga Siren song, even though the song does give him time to teleport in should there be a fight, or time to teleport out. But again, that goes for everything, I guess. But split pushing, definitely a strong one. We have to consider though, I mean, Nature's Prophet picked up into a Batrider Lifestealer combination, which is a combination that can be very aggressive and can be jumping around and grabbing a Nature's Prophet when he tries to split push, so it's gonna be a bit risky game for this Nature's Prophet, but it all depends on how that Batrider does, if he's gonna get his fast Blink Dagger or not, or how fast his Blink Dagger actually is, of course.
Reserve time.
Anti-Mage picked up by Mineski. That makes me believe that perhaps it's gonna be a Lifestealer up against that OD. We have seen that before, and it works out well. I already talked about how the Rage is a counter towards the OD regardless. It's not the most ideal matchup, but it works. You don't stop him from farming, but at least you're getting farm yourself, and you're getting levels. That should be your main concern right there. So, having an Anti-Mage, I like it. I mean, I was talking about an Infest Bomb with the Batrider, but Infest Bomb with the Anti-Mage also pretty strong. And perhaps even we're still gonna have a Batrider in the mid lane, and have an aggressive trialing with that Lifestealer there. I would love that. Shadow Demon is gonna be banned out as a last ban for MiTH, with the Chen removed by Mineski, which is interesting because it makes me believe that Mineski is expecting Venge or Naga Siren to be taking on a carry role here, and that's not something that I was actually expecting. Well, they secure Mirana for themselves, so I think that's going to be our safe lane carry core. I have to say, I mean, I like Mirana, but this is for MiTH Trust. If they don't win in 35 minutes, if they don't have some other domination somewhere, they're going to be in a lot of trouble with that Anti-Mage and a Lifestealer, because they just wouldn't have enough damage to take them both down. And you can count on that Anti-Mage is going to be getting himself a BKB as well, so OD is kind of cancelled out. The ensnares and all of that are nice, but you get Manta Style out of that. Hello, Sand King. One of my favorite supports that we don't see that often. Favorite supports to watch, that is, because I can't play him for shit. But Rubik, telekinesis, lift someone up, drop him down towards that Sand King. Because the downside of the Sand King is that early on in the game, his Burrow Strike has got such a low range. It's almost melee range even. It's very, very annoying, and you can't really go for ganks because the moment you start moving towards the target, it's kind of suspicious and he'll move away and you can't Burrow Strike anymore. But that's where the Rubik comes into play, and he can telekinesis someone so that Sand King can Burrow Strike him easily. And if you then also have a lifestealer there, I mean, I really hope that this is going to be an aggressive trial with a Bat Rider mid. We're going to find out soon though. We're going to find out soon because we are actually in the game. Of course, once again, you are watching the Rapture Gaming League. This is still the group stages. MiTH Trust, the highest in the group stage thus far. We'll be seeing if they can even get him even more ahead or if they will be dropped down to a shared first place with 2 other teams. And Mineski, they are looking to go for a win because if they don't get a win, they'll have a shared last place with another team. And that's also not somewhere where you want to be. Well, it's the same. So what we are having here is that the thing is, Mineski asked, okay, you know what guys, the C servers have been acting up for the Philippines lately, so can we please play on Australian servers today? I love this career. And MiTH said, well, okay, fine for us, let's do it. So we're playing on Australian servers, which by the way means that you will see some spell effect delays here from my point of view, since I'm of course European. But it also means that, well, it also means that we're gonna be having an issue with pings, or perhaps an issue with pings from both teams, which is gonna be maybe more. Like, let's see, because we you have to look then how much skill shots do we have. This is the best one, the biggest one. This Mirana is gonna have a tough time because that arrow with lag is very difficult to hit, and he's of course lucky that he has 2 setup disables for it. By the way, this is gonna be a safe trial for Mineski, but an aggressive trial for MiTH. Let's see actually who's playing what, because we have got Lakel's playing a Mirana, and that's always a fun thing to watch. Trina Cup will take on the Naga Siren. We have got SD taking the Vengeful Spirit. In the mid lane, it will be Ava taking on the OD, and then the last one will be Bungsel Roti will be playing the Nature's Prophet, and he'll be going on a safe lane on the top lane. Then taking a look at Mineski, we've got ourselves the Anti-Mage played by DM. It will be, what the fuck? Playing the Rubik, we're gonna call him WDF. Yep, that's best. Chow Fan will be playing the Sand King. This is a safe trial lane, but a very safe trial lane, I have to say. I mean, you've got yourself, if Anti-Mage gets aggressed upon, if he actually gets locked in by even one of the disables, there's always a telekinesis to stop a follow-up disable from going in from MiTH. And there's a Burrow Strike as well, so the counter initiation for Mineski on this bottom lane is pretty scary. In the mid lane, we've got ourselves MP playing the Lifestealer. I swear that they have all changed their names, but oh well. We have Dogcat playing the Bat Rider here on the top lane. He'll be on the safe lane. That means that we indeed have a Lifestealer up against the OD as expected. As said, it should not be a tough, or it should be an okay lane for both of them. Let's put it that way. Both should be getting levels, should be getting farm, but nobody will really dominate the lane. We're waiting here for maybe initiations coming off here from MiTH Trust, because if you're gonna run an aggressive trail line like this, you either have to be able to shut down your enemy's carry, which so far is actually going okay, or you have to make sure that you're getting kills, which is not yet happening either. I mean, they're not shutting DM down that hard. He's still getting levels just fine, so that's okay. As we have got Sand King chasing down Vengeful Spirit. It's a level 1 versus a level 1, so this is a bit of an awkward chase. The Burrow Strike will still be there, but just to race for the rune. Vengeful with the regen rune, but already ticked off. Well, that's that. Both using some mana to get there, but Vengeful Spirit, of course, getting some mana back from that regen rune before it was ticked off again. So, nicely done there by Venge, and worth it to use well, maybe worth it to use a stun there for as well. In the meantime, Bat Rider, he'll get some free farm here. I mean, this is a lane that he is going to be very happy in. It's a solo versus solo. Perhaps he thought he was going to be up against a trial lane, but solo versus solo, and he should be able to be just fine. And get, of course, a fast blink dagger, fast level 6. And therefore fast rotations to try and make something happen on other lanes. As anti-mage taking some harassment here. Vengeful Spirit coming back. Leap forward, let's see. He has picked up arrow as a skill, so we're gonna see if he hits it. He did hit him up on the Rubik. Or Magic Missile there as well. That's a kill right there. And in the meantime, Trinacop will end up going down to the anti-mage, but the first blood already taken by MiTH. It was a bit awkward. The Sand King didn't, like, he opted to just abandon that Rubik and help the courier. Help the anti-mage instead. Can someone use that courier? Yes, thank you. Bit of awkward play there, actually untangling up on the anti-mage. Telekinesis will be there though, so no follow-up Magic Missile. The arrow will miss as well. Magic Missile will still hit up on the Sand King. He sandstorms himself out of that one, and he lives. Anti-mage taking a bit of harassment here. Wanted to go for a Trinacop. Of course, one of the things that an aggressive trail lane as Bear Rider actually gets picked up by Nature's Prophet. A pick-off that should not happen, by the way. Because Bear Rider should always be able to Firefly himself out of stuff. But perhaps he was just slightly greedy. But on this bottom lane, like, the thing that on an aggressive trail lane is of high value is your mana, because that allows you to be aggressive, basically to throw out your spells and such. And if you then have an anti-mage that's already bursting a lot of your mana, then that's going to be a big deal. It's the Naga Siren that's already used her strength out. Ooh, do they have any other disable? No, because Sand King is not there. He's still on his way walking back to base after almost dying. Arrow hits up on the Rubik, but they can't go in on that. There's no Magic Missile up either. Well, there is a Ring of Bacillus that helps out with a bit of the mana, but it's not enough just yet. They need more. They need more clarities, and they don't have any anymore. So if DM gets himself some extra hits up on some people, then there won't be any aggression at all anymore. In the meantime, we've got the OD sitting on 17 to 14, so doing really well on the denies especially. 12 for 4 on the life stealer, so it's not that big of a difference, but it's a big enough difference to say that MiTH is actually getting ahead here on this middle lane. Of course, also MiTH is getting ahead on the top lane because of that kill just now that Nature's Prophet was able to get, and he's level 6. And of course it's scary if you're level 6 because oh, there goes the Nature's Wrath. If it goes through here on the bottom lane, arrow will hit up on the anti-mage as well. There goes the Nature's Wrath, Magic Missile, and the kill. Lakells gets it, and the Sprout perhaps up. Still up, wants to go for this. Leap forward, tower doing its work. And of course the Tango eaten by Rubik to get himself out of there. Sprout Trinacop coming in from the side though. Perhaps want to use at least something, but nice dodge. No, not enough. Looking for the vision, finds the vision. Riptide is there. Burrow Strike comes out upon the Nature's Prophet. We still have the Rubik alive in this, surprisingly. And Trinacop actually getting blocked there by the creeps, but he'll be fine because the creeps are tanking the tower. Anti-mage blinking away again after almost, well, getting caught out there. I mean, there's 4 people here still for MiTH. In the meantime, this does mean that Bear Rider is being left alone completely on that top lane. So he gets some extra farm, which is nice for him. We still have Trinacop standing there. In comes the ensnare. There's no arrow to follow up on though. He's not yet. Lakell's not getting it in time. And that was all the mana that the Naga Siren had left. So that's going to be the end of the aggression here. Nature's Prophet already went top as well. And peace returns to this bottom lane. Peace and quiet. So anti-mage sitting on 17 last hits. I mean, considering he's died once, and he's up against an aggressive trial lane, it's actually pretty decent because Mirana has 22. Like, the difference is not that big. Haste Rune picked up by the Sand King, which is a pretty scary rune. Also, he's level 3, so he has got that extra level inside this Burrow Strike. Question is, where is he going to try to go? Does he want to try and get the Nature's Prophet? There is a lasso available. And I would put this Bear Rider back on even ground with that Nature's Prophet in terms of levels, I think. But will the haste rune actually be lasting long enough is the question. Nature's Prophet ultimate going through. For the bottom lane, in comes the lasso, in comes the Sand King as well. Can he get that Burrow Strike? He should be able to. Maybe waits until the Sprout is up. No, he doesn't care. He goes for it. 4 stacks of sticky napalm. That's going to be 1 dead Nature's Prophet. Both supports left anti-mage alone, by the way. Nice ensnare dodge. Looking forward, perhaps still finding an arrow. Magic Missile not there as well, as D not really in position. Rubik making his way back bottom. Now the ensnare actually hits. Now the arrow as well. That's gonna be a kill.
Radiant's bottom tower
No
is
blink.
under attack.
No life. Nature's Prophet actually coming in perhaps as well. Perhaps they want to try and take down the tower, get some early gold out for themselves. Aba in the meantime, sitting on 30 for 22. He's got his buckler. As the Rubik actually still went down, but why was he still there? Which is quite surprising. I didn't think he was continuing to walk towards his tower. This will definitely be a tower kill. Extra gold for everybody up on MiTH. And laying down the pressure hard. They already had on 3k on the gold.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
And for Mineski, well, they got this late game, I think, but they have to make it to late game first. And to do that, they have to get this Bat Rider with his Blink Dagger, which is quite a far away off, actually, because he still needs more than 1k gold. And he doesn't have really easy targets to take down. Of course, you'd look at the supports of MiTH to see if you can take those down easily, but because they have got that extra batch of gold, they are a bit more survivable than you would imagine. They are also pretty high level. Level 5 for the Venge, level 5 for the Naga Siren. Ooh, might have Aba getting ganked up on here though. Telekinesis there, Burrow Strike as well. Moonlight Shadow might be enough. Astral Imprisonment will keep him safe. In comes a Nature's Prophet, want to take down the Life Stealer. Senate's Eclipse comes out. Still Aba trying to run from this, still invisible though, and that's gonna be one alive OD for now. Bat Rider flies himself away. We have got the Sand King and the Lifestealer going down in this one, and that is gonna be the most failed gank I think I've seen 4 versus 1, and they couldn't take down the one. They didn't have detection. Level 3 and level 4 support. It's gonna be a steep uphill climb from this point onward for Mineski.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Mechanism almost done up on the OD. Another tower to go down. There's not really that much chance for Mineski to fight this, and they don't have a lasso or anything like that. They don't have an Antimate that's farmed up. They don't have a Lifestealer that's all that farmed up. They don't have any fighting potential, while MiTH Trust, they're looking good for fighting. They're looking solid. Look at the difference in net worth. Even the Anti-Mage, who was of course on an aggressive tri lane, who's only got 32 last hits, he's still highest on net worth. Which is impressive because that just shouldn't have happened. It just should not have happened. 1100 gold up on this bat. Lakel's comes top, no surprise, considering this is the last outer tower on the tier 1 towers that Mineski still have standing, and it's gonna be one that MiTH will look to take down. They've got 4 people rotating top. The only one that's missing is the Nature's Prophet, but then again, he can be anywhere he wants to be in only just a matter of moments, so he's looking good with that. In the meantime, Mineski just tries to farm up as much as they can. As fast as they can. It's so tough though. And all they have to think about right now is just give up towers and try to get as much in return of it as they can without dying. Perhaps getting a tower of themselves, that would actually be a big deal, but I'm thinking that MiTH Trust is gonna at least try to defend this because, I mean, if you're ahead this way, you don't want to give your enemies anything whatsoever. So a tier 1 tower is not going to be part of the deal for this one. Mineski forced to back off with a TP coming in, 2 TPs coming in. We've got Trina Cup almost level 6, meaning almost Song of the Siren, almost initiation power for them. And they've already have quite a bit of actually. Mirana pushing on the bottom lane has got herself a Perseverance, might be looking towards a Linken's at the first item. Wouldn't be surprised at that. A Linken's, am I saying that right? Yeah. Nature's Prophet might be in some trouble. Needs the Moonlight Shadow to survive because I don't think they have the Sable, but it doesn't matter. He's already dead. That's a good pickup. They need to do this more often. Moonlight Shadow not there to help out. And it did not have detection. I'm not sure if it would have been fast enough anyway though, but... Aba, mechanism done as already mentioned. I mean, look at this, they're actually farming Mineski's jungle right now because they are so far ahead. Trinikop can actually try to initiate with the song if he wants to. If you realize there's this many people here, perhaps you want to go for this. Here comes a Burrow Strike. Moonlight Shadow there as well. Will keep Trinikop safe. TP incoming from the Lifestealer, but he doesn't see anybody anymore. So he has to back off. The MiTH Trust, despite the fact that they are so far ahead, They're playing it even fairly safe. Just trying to choke Mineski into submission here. Blink away from the anti-mage because he's afraid of that, and snare arrow combination. Well, I would be. It's pretty scary, and we actually have got 2 extra people coming around, so the battle for the tier 2 towers will begin. MiTH Trust leading in the charge, going for the tier 2 bottom from behind perhaps. Sandking wants to try and make something happen. He doesn't have an epicenter just yet. This is a pretty decent position for the Sandking to try and go for Burrow Strike epicenter combination. But only if he was higher level, and only if the trees were actually still there, which by now is no longer the case. But look at that, maybe the first sign of aggression for Mineski is here. Dogcat got himself a Blink Dagger. And that might be making a difference, might be making all the difference actually. He needs to leave the lane though, he needs to get some kills. Perhaps seeing how far he can get with the tower. Towers would be worth it, for sure.
Dire's top tower is
But it's his job to buy time for that anti-mage to farm up. Nobody else's. Smoke up for Mineski. Lifestealer, Sand King, Rubik. Sand King, Rubik, both not level 6. Can perhaps get themselves a level 6 if they catch someone out right now. But I'd say smoke up with that Bear Rider and go for a Blink, Lasso, Infest combination. Because that's gonna be more deadly. Way more deadly. Almost 10k gold in favor of MiTH Trust. We are only 14 minutes into this game, so that's indeed a very, very big difference. I mean, we have got the Marana almost having her ultimate orb ready. We've got our supports that are pretty rich. 1700 gold sitting up on the OD. Nature's Prophet sitting on 2200 gold, and of course has a hand of MiTH. And the differences are still big, but they're actually gaining some ground here on the side of Mineski. They're getting some more gold up in their hands, and that's because MiTH Trust, well, they just took down a couple of towers, of course, and now are at a kind of an impasse. I mean, they are going to take down Roshan apparently, which is going to be an easy one because they've got the medallion of courage, so the minus armor is there, the wave of terror is there as well. It's just, yeah, that's going to be Roshan with -8 armor. And they're dropping fairly fast. But, I mean, this is basically MiTH, with some delay, giving space for the anti-mage, giving time for the anti-mage. The question is how long they will continue to do that. Obviously, it's not going to be very long, considering that I'm expecting MiTH to just go for a charge up mid, see how far they can get. I mean, they're grouping up already, they've got that Aegis. I think they can make it worth it, but perhaps they want to wait for the Naga Siren to be there again. He needs to go back to base, apparently. I think they saw that ward being placed. Bear Rider. Still not able to make something happen with his Blink and his last 2 just yet, unfortunately for him. Arrows miss. Level 6 on that Sand King. Even though the team fight is in hands of MiTH Trust for sure, having that epicenter might actually tip some scales in a fight. Might help out, depending on the initiation. That's going to be the most important thing right there. As we have a Shadow Blade for the Nature's Prophet, so that's going to be giving him some extra punch. And of course going to be allowing him to split push even more effective, as he already have been split pushing a bit. Push on the top lane, MiTH. Making their way over. I think we got a Lincoln's. No, it's just an ultimate orb. OD going for a side. The Vice Bite looks fit. Picked himself up an ultimate orb as well.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Nature's Prophet with a double damage would actually blink. Last 2, they want to try to go for him. I think they can. In comes an open wound and a Burrow Strike. Nature's Prophet is dead. Nice pickup for Mineski, but they are giving up a tier 2 tower for it. If they get a tier 1 tower in return for that, that would be worth it. That would definitely be worth it. It's a denied tower on the mid lane. Anti-Mage not getting that one anymore, but a tower down nonetheless. Bit of extra gold to go in the way of Mineski. This is an important thing to take. This is important gold for Mineski, and could potentially be enough to keep them in the game. To keep them afloat, at first at least. And with afloat, I basically mean, as long as they've got some fighting potential, as long as they can actually as long as they can actually stop MiTH from going high ground, then they're in a good spot, because this Anti-Mage is still farming, almost got his Battle Fury ready, and even though it's going to be one of the slower Battle Furies that you've seen, it's still going to be something that's pretty nice. Infest Bomb, not going to happen. And actually, SD looking for a swap, looking for a stun, finds it on the Rubik. Rubik goes down, open wounds up on the Nature's Prophet, TP out from Lifestealer is going to be too late. Nature's Prophet turns around, punches him, kills him, in comes an ensnare up on that Sand King. Sandstorm won't keep him safe because the Sentry Ward is down. That's going to be double kill for this Nature's Prophet, and 3 dead here on the bottom lane. They stuck around for too long, they got overconfident, and they might have just threw everything away again that they've had. Threw all their, well, their newly gained gold away. As we see the gold graph, it's still around 10k. Experience graph just makes a nosedive, but look at that experience difference on the supports actually. I mean, the cores is actually not that bad. Mineski has got just 3 level 11s, MiTH has got 3 level 11s, but those supports, level 6 to level 8, that's a pretty big difference. One good team fight could put that back on the map for Mineski though. As the 4 staff is being built up by the Batrider. Battle Fury now ready, 18 minute. It's a bit slower, but it all depends on how aggressive MiTH is going to be. Can they actually make things happen? Blink away. Nicely done. Can MiTH keep on the pressure? They still have an Aegis, and they will have it for a little while longer.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
This is the last outer tower. Nature's Prophet finds himself in the hands of some enemies again, and they do not bring detection, unfortunately for them. That's gonna be Nature's Prophet alive. You know, seriously, I mean, I guess that's the first time that he showed his... No, that's not the first time that he showed his Shadow Blade. They should bring detection, it's just not... You know, it's a very simple mechanism. He goes invisible, you pop the dust. There are some sentries up on the Sand King, but that's not enough if you're gonna try to go for a smoke gank. With the Nature's Prophet, or with the Batrider and the Lifestealer, you go for Nature's Prophet, you bring smoke. It's just that simple. Now MiTH is walking up the high ground. Mineski no longer having a lasso to try and make this fight 4-on-5, and they're gonna have to deal with this. They're gonna have to do something. We already have an Infest sitting up on the Sand King, looking for a Burst Strike perhaps. Finds it up on only Ava though. Is it gonna be enough? Open wounds, in comes the Song. The rage is still there. Lifestealer will try to TP himself out, realizing that he's the only target, but the Song ends before he can TP himself home, and down he goes with the OD, dropping his ultimate. In comes an Epicenter. That's going to be making a difference. Perhaps we have got maybe OD dying. One more hit. No, Anti-Mage blinks himself away. Rubik, there he goes. That's your Aegis gone. But it's only an Aegis. That's going to be Sand King trying to get himself out, but he also will die. That's going to be a double kill for SD's Vengeful Spirit, and that's going to be the first set of racks. 20 minutes into this game, going the way of MiTH. As Rubik will still go down to the OD.
Radiant's middle barracks.
He was all the way over there, forced outside of his base.
Radiant's middle barracks has fallen.
My pet thanks you.
But MiTH, I mean, they've got no real reason to back off here. I mean, I guess the reason would be that the creep wave is all the way pushed out and that Anti-Mage is farming again. But Anti-Mage just needs so much more time before he can start being a threat here. Luckily for Anti-Mage, they don't have a Hex just yet. Never mind. Haha, that's your Hex right there, OD. Having it in his inventory, they know where he went. They won't find him anymore. In the meantime, Mirana, Cat Lady, you're getting lassoed way overextending. Lassoed from this point onward, that's not where he should have been. But he goes down. Nice pickup for Mineski. They have to try and find these kills and force out, force that MiTH cannot go for high ground. Make MiTH delay their pushes, and you can do that by just picking off heroes. Make sure that they're not 5. Yeah, he died by neutral, but that's okay. Better than by neutral. He got, of course, jumped upon by the OD, hexed him. Buys back, continues farming. Does cost a bit of farm, of course. So first dive is ready on the Batrider. We have got Nature's Prophet here. That's gonna be a free kill for him. Boom! Killing spree for Bunsal Roti. Sand King placing some sentry wards just in case. Because Mirana ult is up once again, and in comes the push. In comes an arrow first, but won't scout out anything. We'll scout out that there is actually nobody defending this apart from a Sand King who gets hexed up straight away. Leap forward, Starstorm, that's a kill right there and then. And that's gonna be a tier 3 tower down as well.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Should be, unless Barrier can make something happen. He does have a last two, but who is he gonna try and grab? It has to be the Naga Siren almost, because otherwise there's gonna be a song.
Tower has fallen.
Oh, he goes for a... Can he force have himself out in time? Tier 4 towers. No, here comes a song. The swap into safety. The song keeping him safe and snare up on the lifestealer. The only target here. The song actually saved his life for a little while longer, but he will still get picked up by the arrow of Lakel's. Stun up on the anti-mage. He goes down. Barrider trying to make himself back to base, but the GG has already been called. That's gonna be it. That's gonna be a complete stomp from MiTH Trust. Shutting down Mineski hard. And that's gonna be MiTH keeping themselves on top of the food chain, on top of the charts for the Rapture Gaming League. They are still #1, undisputed this time. Mineski, they make themselves a last place. They are now on par with Impervious, both sitting on 2 wins, 6 losses. And of course, last place is not where you want to be, because then you cannot go to the playoffs. Anyways, today there was only 1 game for the Rapture Gaming League. Tomorrow is gonna be 2. But for now, that was it. We're gonna have Starletter in 2 hours on this very stream, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep the stream off or not. We'll find out. Anyways, I'll be right back anyways.